think one of the easiest ways to transform an item of clothing is to use paint. It doesn't take any special skills or special tools to change things up with some fabric paint. When I saw this designer cable knit sweater with a simple stripe on it, I knew it was something I could easily recreate. While the stripe on the inspiration sweater looks to be dyed, or maybe even actual pink yarn was used in the knitting process, I thought using fabric paint would be the way for me to go. Let's take a look at what materials you'll need for this project. Cable knit sweater, fabric paint, paint brushes or sponges, painter's tape, scrap cardboard pieces, ruler or other straight edge. Where I purchased my materials from will be listed on the blog. Link to the blog is below. Let's get started. First step is to place a scrap piece of cardboard inside the body of the sweater. This will prevent the paint from soaking through to the other side. Also, place pieces of cardboard inside the upper part of the sweater sleeves. Make sure the cardboard lays flat inside the sleeve. Use scissors or an x-acto knife if you need to cut the cardboard pieces to fit properly inside of the sleeves. Make sure the cardboard pieces are nice and flat and that they are not overlapping inside of the sweater. I eyeballed the placement of the stripe. Looking back, I probably should have either put the sweater on and marked the placement of the line or measured it instead of just eyeballing it. Anyway, use a ruler to make sure you have a straight line across the front of your sweater and to mark off the top line of the stripe. Use a piece of painter's tape to stretch across the length of the sweater's front and onto the sleeves. To mark the bottom line of the stripe, I used my sponge brush, which is 1 inch wide, as a marker to place the bottom piece of tape. After both pieces of tape are down, press the tape into the sweater really well. You want to try to prevent any paint from seeping under the tape so that you'll have crisp lines. Next step is to start painting. Shake up or stir your fabric paint. I thought at first I could just brush the paint onto the sweater, but I found that blotting the paint into the sweater was giving me much better coverage. Once you've filled in the whole stripe, allow it to dry completely. I ended up doing a second coat of paint after the first one dried. After both coats of paint were completely dried, I carefully removed the tape from the front of the sweater. I was very happy with how clean the stripe came out. I took the cardboard out from inside the sweater and flipped it over to start working on the stripe for the back of the sweater. This is where actual measuring instead of eyeballing probably would have come in handy. I tried to line the back stripe up with where the stripe was placed on the front of the sweater by using where the stripes on the sleeves had ended as a marker. After I had the top line marked out, I again used my sponge brush as a marker for the width to place the bottom piece of tape. After both pieces of tape are down, press the tape into the sweater really well. Place the cardboard pieces back inside the sweater's body and sleeves. Paint the back stripe just as you did the front stripe. After the paint is completely dry, carefully remove the tape. And this is the exact moment that I realized I probably should have measured or put the sweater on to plot out the stripe. Because the stripe from the front and the back of the sweater do not line up. Well, at this point, I have no choice but to make it work. Here I go again, eyeballing placing the tape to have the front and back stripes connect, and using the sponge brush to mark the width. Make sure the tape is pressed down really well, then start painting the sleeve to connect the stripes. Repeat taping off and painting on the other sleeve to connect the front and the back stripes. Once the paint is completely dry on the sleeves, the fabric paint I'm using calls for it to be heat set. Turn the sweater inside out and iron the sweater where the fabric paint is to heat set it. I'm not super happy that the stripe doesn't line up perfectly on the sleeves and that there was some bleeding of the paint, so the line on the back and on one of the sleeves isn't as crisp as the front stripe, but those are small things that make the sweater imperfectly perfect and unique. Comment below if you plan on doing this project. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll be alerted when the next video drops.